Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Similaria and today I will be taking you through another neighborhood tour. This is my custom neighborhood of Willow Ridge, and I've been slowly but surely building up the neighborhood. If we zoom out a little, you can see just how large it really is. I really haven't done much in the residential area yet. I've been building a few little starter homes, moving some families in. There's not a whole lot going on over here. I've really been focused on this community commercial area. So today I'm going to show you a few of the lots I've built. We have the Willow Ridge Library. This is labeled Coin Laundry, which is a functioning laundromat. Over here we have the Willow Ridge Family Fun Center. And then over here we built I built a functioning bank. So this is Willow Ridge Bank. So these are the lots I will be showing in this video today. So we can go ahead and start with Willow Ridge Library. This is probably the largest, most detailed community lot that I've done to date. The Willow Ridge Family Fun Center is pretty large too, but the library, it really took me a while to get exactly what I was looking for. So with this neighborhood, I'm really going for as realistic vibes as possible. So I started with a parking lot. I wanted to make sure that it looked a little bit full, so I did download some deco cars that you can put in here. Look how nicely they parked just one spot away from each other. So here's our library. I was really happy with how this came out. I used a bit of custom content in this, including these sort of wall decorations. I can't remember where exactly these are, maybe in architecture, yeah. So this is part of a pretty large set by Honeywell on Mod The Sims. So I did add those in this build. So you can see it's a 2-floor, and there's one main entrance in the front, and then over here on the side, I've always liked to use these to label. I know they don't really mean anything, but I like to pretend they do. I think the sizing is pretty good too. There's some custom commercial signage that I've downloaded or seen before, but I don't know, it just gives it that classic Sims 2 vibe to just use these in any random configuration on your building. So here's another area over here. And then in the back, we actually have a little patio area for both patrons and employees of the library. I don't know what is going on up here. It looks like a couple of these disappeared for some reason. I don't know why they're not showing. There we go. Put those back there. But yeah. So we'll go ahead and start at the front of the library. If we go down to the first floor, right when we come in here at the front, you have this lobby. And I'll try to do this with walls up as much as possible. I have play tested this lot. Of course, it's not really functional in terms of a library being functional, but I did play test and they can reach everything. The elevators work. They can read books off the shelves. I also play with a community lot mod that lets you skill on community lots, which made this a little bit more functional than it would have been. But here we have our little lobby check-in area here. This is sort of modeled after the library that I went to growing up. They had this wall here that showed into the staff area with windows, so I thought that was kind of fun to recreate. I'm actually going to put walls down so that you don't get a whole bunch of clipping. But here's your general little check-in lobby area, and then directly behind that there is a staff room with a fridge and a sink and some computers. I didn't go too crazy on like cluttering. I don't tend to clutter a lot of my builds. I'll just do enough to give it a little bit of realism, but still keep it functional and all that. Over here you've got more seating in the lobby area. Tried to keep a general vibe, same color, you know, earthy tones. And then we have some computers over here. This area is inspired very much by the university I went to. Right when you walked into the university library, they had a big computer area where I spent many an hour researching and writing papers back when we didn't have AI to do it all for us. And here we have another little lobby area. With the restrooms, I was really excited. I actually downloaded like a commercial restroom CC set. So we have like the hand dryer over here. And then I don't know if I used anything else in this, but here's the men's restroom. I did add light switches as well throughout the build. You might see those, kind of fun. And then of course the women's restroom here. But yeah, so little restroom area there. And then the other side is what you'd consider the stacks, or like the adult section. So it's just got a lot of bookshelves. These were an absolute pain in the butt to place because I didn't just place them with the regular tile. I used the snap objects to grid false cheats so they could actually connect to each other and not have gaps in between. And then like I said, out here's a little patio. I thought this was kind of cute. Put this in so Sims can come sit, and when you actually do play on this lot, it fills up with Sims pretty quickly, and there were people out here eating and chatting with each other and visiting and all of that, so that was kind of fun. I also have a pack that gives you these like electric boxes and air conditioners and things like that, which actually I put an electric box up here because when I was building this I couldn't find the air conditioners and I thought they weren't working, but turns out they live in appliances, so you can find them there. But here we have this large commercial air conditioner. I usually put a couple on top of the buildings just because I think it looks a little more realistic. So we can put this larger one over here maybe, and another smaller unit here. I don't know, looks kind of cool, gives it a little bit of that realism. So then on the first floor again, they have a row of elevators. I am just now realizing I did not put stairs anywhere in this building. So hope there's no fires because the Sims are not getting out. But here we have the second floor. You have your little lobby area similar to downstairs. There's some books, there's some restrooms over here. Pretty similar to downstairs. They also have the staff room as well up here. And then over here, I really love to make like a 2-story open area where you can look down. Again, this is partially inspired by my college library. They had this corner where you could look down on all the levels and see, which I really loved. I know that when you have a 2-story ceiling, if you want to be able to put lights, they just look real dumb hanging out there, but it's okay. I like how it looks at night, so I just try to ignore that. And here we have this as well. And this rolling cart is actually converted from The Sims 4. I'm trying to remember which pack conversion was. I think it's Get to Work, and it was included with the police set. So anyway, here as well, you have a little lobby area, not really functional. I tried to put a computer on here and a phone and stuff, and it didn't really want to go on that counter. But then over here, which is my favorite part, I think, of the whole build, you come into the children's section. So I put a little fish tank. This is also CC, and then some little chairs in the corner. And then of course, all the bookshelves. There's not a ton on this level because I wanted to make this little, our local libraries have a play area. So I wanted to add one of those for the kids. And I know you can't bring toddlers to community lots without a mod, but when I do bring the children, they play here and it is fun. I don't know if anyone has that mod, let me know. I've been kind of scared. It looks really complicated and I do not want to break my game. So I haven't used that yet, but here we have the little story time area. This is not functional. I tried to get a sim to read, an adult sim to read their childhood story, and they just sat on the floor like they always do. So it is cute though. I thought it was fun to use this little like fairy tale backdrop, make it look like they have it themed. I've got this rug over here. And then I just really like in The Sims 2, like when you look out the windows and stuff, I know the graphics aren't amazing, but it actually, like, you can see the parking lot and it looks like you're on the second story of this building. So I thought that was really fun. Used a nice bright color, tried to theme it a little bit, but not too much. So yeah, this is the library. I can also show you what it looks like at night from the outside. Hopefully all the lights still work. My Sims have come here a couple of times, especially, not that a bookshelf is expensive, but I have some Sims that I don't have a lot in their house, or their house is really small, so I'll make them come here and skill and pretend. I haven't yet started building up the university, custom university that I made. I've placed all the lots, but I haven't started building. Well, that's not true. I think I built one residential home for rent, but other than that, I haven't started. So I also make my college Sims come here because I'm not a huge fan of the default libraries in any of the universities. So, but yeah, this is the Willow Ridge Public Library. For this, I was inspired by a library that I saw off of Pinterest. I cannot find the post again, and I cannot remember the creator's name, but they had like a similar color scheme. Their build was a lot more intricate than mine, but I just thought that it was a good place to start. I find a lot of inspiration off of Pinterest and off of TikTok and Facebook and things like that, but I think Pinterest is a great place to go if you're looking for like a realistic build or a realistic floor plan to kind of model after. All right, so we're back in the neighborhood, and I think I'll go ahead and show you the laundromat next. This one is really fun because it is actually functional. So here we have our laundromat. It's named Coin Laundry. I might change it, I might not. I really wanted this to be sort of a in-between type lot because we have like our lower income area over here. It's across the street from the bodega and over here by the shelter. So I wanted it to have like a new clean look, but also be very accessible as sort of like a transitional lot. So it's accessible to these folks down here, but also this is a residential area. I just moved a family into this house actually. It's been kind of fun to have them pop across the street to do their laundry. It's not gameplay I do all the time, but I thought it was something fun to add some of that realism to the lot. So with this one, I really kind of challenged myself to do something outside the box. When I first started building, it was bland, I'm not gonna lie. I just used like default colors for everything, and then I thought, no, let's make this like new and hip. Like someone who lives in the neighborhood has bought this laundromat and is wanting to like revive, you know, the place that they grew up in. And so they've brought in bright orange walls and some brightly colored stuff, and the floors are kind of garish, and I really wanted to make it seem like a place that people wanted to come and hang out and sort of revive the neighborhood feel. So I went ahead and put in some snacks so that you can wait for your laundry and eat. And then there's some tables that are supposed to simulate folding. Obviously in The Sims, they don't actually fold their laundry. They just kind of pull it out of the washer and dryer and it's done. But I did add, these are washers all in the center. So I have 6 total rows of washers, and then the dryers are stacked. They can use the top dryers. I was surprised, honestly. The interaction is a little bit wonky. It looks like they're actually pushing the buttons on the lower one, but they will put things in that top washer and dryer, which is kind of cool. And then going off a little bit of that realism, I added back here like a little employee area. There's some lockers along the wall. And then part of that appliance set that I downloaded is a furnace, and a water heater. I thought that would add a little bit, again, some realism, considering that this is a laundromat. They probably have a whole lot of bills associated with the warm water and the electricity. So I put the furnace and the water heater unit in there. And again, like I said with my other build, I do not yet have a good door that I like for like a commercial exit in the back of a building. So I went with this restaurant door. I kind of hate it, but it is what it is. And then of course, no commercial or community lot is complete without a restroom. So I went ahead and added some of those items I was talking about in the other build. We have a little toilet paper dispenser and then a hand dryer. And then I also got this little soap dispenser too. So I thought it added a little bit of realism again to the build. I think they're in both restrooms. There's something weird with this that once you place it, you can't move it again. So I've had to be really careful or just not save and use the undo button, because for whatever reason, this object, once it's there, it doesn't want to leave again. So, but yeah, there is the building. This one's a small lot, so not a whole lot to show, but if anyone's interested, I could do a gameplay version of this one where I actually like play test a lot so you can see what it looks like. I was also pleasantly surprised how quickly this lot filled up with Sims, and they all started to do their laundry. So it's pretty cool that not just your own Sim, but like other Sims will come and autonomously do their laundry. Just adds to that gameplay fun, and they just kind of hang around waiting for it to finish. So there's a lot at night. These lights don't appear to be working right now, but then there it is during the day. Okay, and the next lot we're gonna do is the Willow Ridge Bank. This one was really fun. I found a banking set while looking that is pretty old. It's from Katie76, I think the creator's name is. And I can go ahead and link the YouTube video where I found the download. The original site that this was on is a little bit spammy. I think the site has been bought and changed into something that it wasn't before. So I would not go there. I think the website is like PC Sims or something. But if you want to download this stuff, it was included in a Jessa Sims video from several years ago. But the CC still works. So I went ahead and put together this bank lot. So my neighborhood is large, but I like to give it more of that small town feel, hence the bodega and the little laundromat and things like that. So I went ahead and modeled this after like a small town bank. I think when I Googled ideas, like Flanagan State Bank or something came up, and I was like, oh, I really like the idea of it being like this little brick building. And then of course you come on this side. I don't know what happened to my, maybe I didn't add it. Let me do some move objects on real quick. And I like to do this so that it looks like there's actually a drive here. I'm curious if it deleted that or if I just forgot to do it. But anywho, you kind of drive up to the bank here and you can park. Better be good at parallel parking because that's your only option here. I tried so hard to fit in a regular parking lot and it just didn't look great. And then there's two entrances. This is one of those signs I was talking about. I didn't really have the space on the wall or the roof anywhere to use the regular university Greek lettering that I use, so I just used this sign here. But then most banks are gonna have like a drive-through with an ATM, so you kind of come around here, and this is not functional at all, but I wanted to make it look like a car was here at the drive-up. So the ATM itself is functional, but obviously they can't get around this car to get there. So when I was first building, I had the ATM over here. And then I realized that, oh, when you drive, you're on the left side of the car. So I had to move it to the building. I didn't have a lot of space on this lot. I purposely kept it small so that it felt more full and more realistic. But I thought that was a nice little touch to have that there. Inside the bank, it is just a little one-story room, and I'll kind of show you around some of the objects. Again, if anyone's interested, I can do like a playtest version of this to show you what the interactions are, but I went ahead and made this as similar to the bank by us as I could, just because it felt fun and realistic to me. So these are little terminals where you can actually buy like a banking book, which you can take home and use to go ahead and deposit funds and transfer money and things like that. You can also buy certificates. I haven't figured out what they do yet, but I made 3 little rows here and then the simulating these little columns. This took some figuring. I had the wrong counter. These were turned the wrong direction. They couldn't get to it at first, so I had to move that around a little bit. And then I really wanted to find a window that made it look like a drive-up window, but there were not any good options, so I went with these. These are custom windows. These little stands are neat. I put these here again to kind of simulate the idea of like coming to the window and talking to the teller. So these actually are functional, and if your sim comes to the lot, they can choose to work as either a bank operator or a statistician. I can't say that word. And they make about $79 an hour. So while my sim was at the bank just playtesting, I just made her work for a little bit and she worked for a couple hours. They just kind of stand here and pretend they're writing and stuff like that. But that's kind of cool because you could use these on a owned lot as well, and then have your sims sit there and generate revenue for you. Pretend you run a bank. I don't know if I'm going to play that way. It's a little more complicated to use the mod for a business than it is for just a regular community lot. So I'm not sure about that, but... And then over here I have, again, like staff lockers. And this was the closest door I could find to what would be like a vault. So I went ahead and put this here. I really tried to make this a basement, but I realized that after I was mostly done with the build, and by then I couldn't, you know, the walls were in the wrong place and I didn't want to have to take apart my whole build to do the basement. So little employee restroom and public restroom as well. And then you have these safe deposit boxes. These are just a deco item. They go on the wall. They don't do anything, but it looks kind of cool. And then I made this to simulate going into the actual vault. So they have these little safes back here. Your sim can check for how much money they have saved. And then these money bags, I think, are a fun little deco object. The only thing your sim can do is kick it, which I thought was really funny as well. I don't know what object it was modeled after, but it is funny that they can kick it and it kind of wiggles a little bit. And then at most banks that I've been in, they have like those loan officer cubicles. So I went ahead and put this in. Again, not really functional, but a sim was sitting here, an NPC. So my sim sat down and they started to have a little conversation, kind of like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm about to purchase my first home, so I need a loan and all of that. So I went with a blue theme, you know, blue and banking. I don't know, it seems kind of warm and inviting. And then here we have another little loan officer area over here. This one's got a file cabinet. Similar to my other build, I used minimal clutter. I know I could make it a lot more cluttered. I just didn't feel like it. So this simulates like where you'd go and, you know, fill out like a deposit slip or something like that. And then these are bank books that your sims can purchase. Again, they can take those home. Over here we have the ATM corner. So these ATMs are functional. Your sim will come up and they will either they can take money out. I have not yet figured out, I know there's like a loan payback system that goes with this, and they'll sort of charge you a certain amount of interest every day and all of that. I have not actually used it like in my gameplay, but I did have my sim come and take some money out. So far it's just chilling on her bank account. I think she took out like $500 or something. I didn't really need it for anything, but I think that would be kind of cool if your sim like needs money to move to a larger house, but they haven't, you know, worked in their job long enough. They could come to the bank and take out a loan and then slowly pay that back over time. So yeah, I had a lot of fun building this lot, trying to get the realism there, figuring out how the mod worked, play testing everything. It took me several tries. I had to play test it 3 or 4 times and come back in and move things around, but I'm really happy with how this one turned out. The driveway was a nightmare to make, like I said, with the parking spots, but this one adds a lot of realism to my game, both in the neighborhood and just in functionality. And like I said, I'll include the link for the mods so that you can possibly download this and add that type of gameplay to your own game. Our final build that I'll cover today is this Willow Ridge Family Fun Center. I was just realizing that my Sims don't ever go anywhere, and I really wanted them to have somewhere that they could do lots of different things. So I put this together. I wouldn't say it's my favorite build I've ever made, but I really do like how it turned out. I have play tested it and the Sims did pretty well. They were able to reach everything. It filled up with NPCs, all of that. So here it is. I wanted to make it a 2-story, make it bright and inviting, sort of like a fun house type place. We have a lot of indoor play centers around where I live. I don't know if anyone else is familiar with those, but I kind of modeled it after one of those. I used that custom content sign again and made this little like entry sign here. And then I have a parking lot again as well. These spots I think are a little closer together because I wanted to fit more cars. I just have to say, this blue van, they are everywhere. They go to every single community lot in my neighborhood. So here is the entrance. We'll go down to the first floor. I went bright with this one. I will say my build style is sometimes kind of bland, but I wanted to mimic like the overstimulation of these places. And honestly, after I played this lot for a little while, I was like, okay, I'm ready to take my people home. There's the sounds of bowling, there's the flashing disco lights, there's the sounds of the arcade. But it's fun. I've brought some children here and some teens here, and it's really fun. So this is sort of your little check-in desk area. Again, not really functional. There's nothing to actually purchase here, I don't think. But I put it there anyway. And then you have a little cafeteria area. I wanted it to be very bright. And then I downloaded this fun little Chick-fil-A stand. No one actually populates this, but your sim can order a bunch of different food from over here. And then I put in these cash registers to kind of represent like when you go to these places, you go through the food court and then you just pay. They just stand there. There's nothing to really do. I was going to change that out though, because I realized that this is not actually functional this way. I thought that my Sims would give themselves coffee. I clearly don't play with coffee shops on The Sims enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete these and put the coffee stand here instead so they can order some coffee, and then I'll fill in with these counters. So this is a little Parisian like bakery set that I downloaded. It's not actually functional. I thought it was, but over here they can order an icy and they can also get a corn dog. I thought I had downloaded a set with a soda dispenser. I actually can't find it anywhere in my game, so I need to check my CC and figure out if it's actually in there somewhere or if I never downloaded it. So I like the way this looks. It's like accessible, but there's a wall separating. I tried to do that throughout, kind of use different wall types to keep it visually interesting. Over here in the center, this is one of the reasons I made it 2 stories, because I have this play set inside. This is functional. My teenagers are hanging out on it, but I thought this would be a nice little area. I debated making it like a toddler space. A lot of these indoor play areas will have a space for toddlers specifically, or children under 2 years old, but because I don't play with toddlers on community lots, I felt like it'd be better served to have an area for children and teens to hang out instead. Over here we have some custom content, and I made a little mini golf area. These are really cool. They are cloned from the, I believe it's the business career reward, the little mini golf stand. It looks very similar to this one here, but these were made by, let's see who the creator is. Mise Simmer. I don't know if that's how you say it right, but I absolutely love these. Your Sims will actually play them. They do not move from hole to hole, they just stay at one, so you have to cue the interaction, watch them play, cancel the interaction, move on to the next one. But I set these up as if they start over here with the castle and then they move on to this little windmill. I don't believe these are animated. When I play tested this, nothing moved, if I can recall, in terms of like the windmill doesn't spin or anything, but they do actually play. They drop the ball, it rolls in, and then it rolls back to them down the side. This clown is really fun. And then they come back over here to this little waterfall and then come around the side to this ending one. So I thought that was fun. My sim gained a couple of skills, if I remember right, or not a couple skills, but he gained fun from playing it, and then also I believe charisma, which is kind of interesting. But so over here we've got the mini golf, and if you come back towards the back of the family fun center, we have an arcade. I really wish that we had more arcade games. I have not looked for custom content for this, but it works for now. I made this little arcade corner with the little light here, which is fun. It is kind of nice when you're actually playing on the lot, because a lot of people, the NPCs and townies and stuff, come over here and play, and so you have that simulated background arcade sounds, which just makes the lot feel more alive. Lots of chairs, places to sit. The place by us that has skating has these little booths set up along the side, so I tried to kind of replicate that, and then I wanted to match the fence here to the skating rink fence. So this is pretty fun. They can come and skate here. Really enjoy watching them skate. My Sims fall all the time. I don't know if that happens to y'all when you play too. And then over here in the corner, we have a photo booth and a little snack area, which they can bring their snacks over here. oddly enough, at one point when I was playtesting this lot, I had like 7 Sims who had all gone and gotten chips and were all just sitting here eating their chips. It was very weird. I don't know what prompted that, but. And then over here we have the restrooms, one for men, one for women, and then bowling. So I loved when this pack came out. It was just so fun for them to go bowling and have something else to do. So they went ahead and played a couple games when I play tested. But yeah, so this is the Family Fun Center. This is really great if you're just looking for somewhere for teenagers to hang out, if you want to build something like this in your game, or even children can come on a Saturday. The whole family can come and play. I really like having somewhere else for them to go where they can just go do something as a family. I have several parks laid out in my neighborhood, but I haven't actually built any yet. So I plan to do that next. I want to try making a dog park and a couple other playground areas for them. Maybe put some chess, because that seems to be a classic Sims park thing, is to have chess there. Some fishing, things like that. So here's the Family Fun Center. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. So back out here to the main neighborhood, things are slowly progressing. I'm really enjoying what I've built so far. I think it gives that mixture of staying within the game's sort of default behavior. I haven't used a lot of Adjuster, I haven't used a lot of extra neighborhood deco, things like that, while also using enough custom content to make some of that realism. So up next, I have a couple more houses I want to fill in here. I'm debating actually making these lots a little smaller and building some smaller homes. I like to play realistically in terms of money, that when my Sims graduate college, they can't just go live in whatever house they want. So I have quite a few Sims that have been living in the apartments. I have the trailers over here. And then I also downloaded a few apartment lots that I put in over here. These have been fun to play. So I've had Sims live there until they make enough money, but still a lot of my houses, like this one is 77,000. This one's almost 100,000. I just don't build starter homes well. This one is really hard. This is the closest I've gotten to like a starter home, and it's 38,000. I downloaded this one and it's still 27,000. So I need to work on that. Like I said, I might make these lots in here smaller and make them starter homes if I can do it. I just absolutely love to create homes that look very realistic, and starter homes feel bland to me a lot of the time. So maybe I can find some to download off Mod The Sims or something. And then along here, I really want to make some brownstone type buildings where a Sim owns a business and they live above the business, and down below on the first floor is the business. So I have in mind to put in like a bakery, a pottery studio, and then I haven't really decided what else I want to put in the other two. And then over here I'm going to attempt to build a post office. It probably won't be functioning, but I have seen some CC that I need to look into for it and see if that actually works. And then one thing I'm really interested to build as well is the Willow Ridge Animal Services. So I want to have like an adoption place where they can go, not a pet store, but like a shelter that they can go and get veterinary services for their pets. I know that's not actually a part of this game. It is one thing that I miss from Sims 4. I really loved the vet playthrough. But then having a place where you can go and actually physically adopt animals instead of just calling on the phone. I hope you enjoyed this tour. I'm slowly but surely building this neighborhood up, and I do plan to continue to do these videos. It's got a couple other residential homes that I could show as well, so maybe do a residential tour at some point. This is another house that I was trying to build as a starter, and it's not even done, and it's already 30,000. So like I said, I really suck at that, but slowly but surely I'm working my way up, and there are quite a few other community lots I plan to make as well. So thank you again for watching, and let me know in the comments what you're most excited to see next.